What's up, NIO family? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward and what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or use my QR code right here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia. Deposits $10,000 to get $300 worth of the stock, or deposits $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and the offer ends very soon. So please check out my link down below to sign up or use this QR code right over here to sign up. So NIO has an inverse head and shoulders like pattern, and it does look like NIO is going to consolidate and attempt to bounce. If we hold above 5.1, we're looking for an attempt for 5.37, I would say within 2 days from now. Also, when you look at their deliveries for November were not the strongest month over month, but compared to last November, it's a major improvement. The sales almost doubled in November 2025 versus November 2024. That's why on Benzinga, we're seeing a lot of positive headlines about how we're seeing NIO gaining a lot of support with very aggressive forward guidance. And there could be a lot more improvements coming to deliveries, especially when we get closer to December. Overall, NIO has shown lots of growth, and we tend to be very strong around January. So hopefully, we see a lot of a lot of improvement in the price action heading into the end of the year. Freedom Capital Markets also gave NIO a buy rating, and then the price price ratio is bouncing right here, which tells us that it's gaining a little bit of strength. And then finally, Tuesdays tend to be green about 55% of the time, at least moving forward. So we'll see what happens at least as well. So heading into tomorrow, we have some employment data in the morning. The ADP employment change data may cause a little bit of volatility. Alongside the JOLTS numbers at 10 o'clock a.m., there might be some volatility then for Eastern Standard Time. The market expects the Fed to give us a 25 basis point cut. And looking at the repurchase schedule, we're basically seeing a high probability of more repurchases by about $12.5 billion in the upcoming days. So we're continuing to see the Fed slowly buying back these treasuries. And this is, once again, something that's been going on. We're going to see what that leads to. If the Fed is going to be more dovish, that's going to be very important. Finally, when it comes to what's happening in the future, we basically have a lot of these important earnings to be looking at. We have GameStop, for example, tomorrow after market close, and we have a few more. Costco is going to be a big one for Thursday. So as far as NIO goes, we're looking for a possible inverse head and shoulders as we have this divergence that's forming. And then we're going to see if we could hold above 5.1. If we do, I'm looking for 5.37 or above for a temporary bounce on the 4-hour time frame. On the daily time frame, it's also showing some potential. We're about to get a bullish cross in our PPO, and we are seeing buyers trying to make higher lows on the stock, which could help us consolidate, eventually slowly push back up towards 5.5 to fill this gap up here. So that being said, there's a good chance we do try to bounce, and I think that there's a reversal structure. On top of this, for SPY, we're making higher highs and higher lows. We did dump a bit today only to bounce. So it could once again return back up to these highs, and we'll see if we get a rejection or not. But we're watching to see if SPY gets a bigger rejection, looking at this possible inverse head and shoulders like pattern. Could this be the start of the right shoulder? It's possible, but I think we bounce a little bit tomorrow for like 685 plus, and then we'll see if we turn back down. Same thing with the QQQ. We're starting to bounce in the after hours. We could be looking for an attempt to get back up towards 627 for a temporary move up. Then we'll see if we reject again off that resistance as we're very choppy. The IWM is looking kind of weak. We're looking for 249 and 247 as our supports for some temporary downside. ES also has an inverse head and shoulders right here, and we're going to see what that leads to. Are we about to form the right shoulder from here? I do see a test of 68.67 to 68.80 to be coming, and we'll see if we turn from there to form this inverse head and shoulders. On NQ, the same thing is going on. We have an inverse head and shoulders as well. We're going to see if we could hold above 25,673 or not. If not, we're looking for 25,500. And I still think that we're looking for that possible setup on NQ and inverse head and shoulders right here. Bitcoin is consolidating. It's getting very tight right now. We're going to see if this could get back above 94,000. If it doesn't, I expect this to continue to consolidate in the low 90,000 area before it starts dipping back down. For Tesla, we're also looking to see if this temporarily bounces for 442 to 445, then we'll see if we turn back down. Overall, look for a small bounce for 442 in my opinion. Nvidia is also trying to bounce right now. We got bought back up right here, but just keep in mind when you have these breaks to the upside, there's been a lot of times where Nvidia kind of pops and rejects, pops and rejects, pops and rejects. So I think FOMC will have a big effect on how this ends up moving if we get some kind of rug pull or not. So be very patient. Apple is also rejecting here. We need to see this hold 278. If it doesn't, it could be dipping to 275. Netflix is also dipping right here. We're going to see if the 95 area holds and might be trying to bounce there. AMD is trying to break right here. I think we got some bullish news. Because we're back above 222, we could attempt to get back up towards 227 and then 230 basically. Coinbase is trying to rebound, a nice accumulation. As long as we don't lose 270, it could be bouncing for 278. On Amazon, we're on a bit of a downtrend with an inverse cup and handle. This could drag us back down towards 225. Meta has supported 666. We're going to see if this holds. If it doesn't, we're looking for 658. Google is dipping. We're going to see if 312 holds. If it doesn't, we're looking at resistance at 318. So we're stuck in the middle. So give that some time. We'll see if 318 is touched. Microsoft is also in a range right now. We like to reject near 492, and we have support down here at 475. Could be dipping to 486, and we'll see what happens as well. Finally, the VIX is trying to break right here. There's a bullish falling wedge. This makes me suspect it may attempt to go higher for 17.72. However, there's that gap below. So I think that even if this is a breakout attempt, we're going to see if it comes down one more time before it tries to bounce like this. It could be doing something like that, which means the market might bounce a little bit before we continue to see the projection we're looking at. So with that being said, I thank you for listening. We're going to see if the market kind of like rejects a bit more. Might bounce a bit tomorrow on SPY, the QQQ, and many other tickers before we see a continuation lower. And NIO has an inverse head and shoulder, so it could also try to bounce for 5.37. Then we'll see if it ends up rejecting or not. But for now, there is some upside potential. Looking for 5.37 for a temporary bounce on NIO. Thank you for listening, and peace out.